Hi, and welcome to the December edition of According to Pete. This time around, I want to revisit my amplifier project from way back, and I want to examine what its current state is, where it's going, figure out what my next steps are, and then actually get on to the steps so I can continue on with the project finally. First, to start off with, I want to restate the scope of the original project for you. I got my amplifier, right? This is an STA 540 kit that we sell on the website. And what I want to do is I want to have a central control system, and I want to have an XB along with an X2 gateway that we have. And I want to be able to control the system from my phone, right? So I can get on a website and enter stuff in, and the volume goes up and down, and maybe something does on the display, which is another part that I'm going to add. And let's see, the microcontroller system will also contain automated faders, right? They can't stand alone as a system, so they kind of get lumped in with this. So there's going to be automated faders, there's going to be a display, there's going to be spectral analysis going on, there's going to be a VU section, and then there's a power supply to power all of this. I've got the amplifier and a power supply set up in my garage, and this is functional now. Amplifier's got some speakers, makes lots of noise, it's crazy. Now the power supply that I'm using currently is something that I've had kicking around my basement for a long time. It doesn't have any specs on it. It's got like voltage, right? It's got plus and minus 12 volts, that's obviously labeled. Not obviously, but it's labeled. And it's got a 5-volt supply on it. So it seemed like, hey, this is awesome, I can use this. Now, how much current do I expect that 5 volts to put out? It's a pretty beefy supply, and it's got a lot of metal attached to it. It's got some pretty large active parts on it. So I expect the 5-volt supply is probably good for a couple of amps without complaining. It may not be enough to drive the whole system. I don't know yet. It really comes down to what I'm going to decide to do with the display. I do expect the display to draw a lot of current and take a lot of I/O, right? A lot of lines out of a processor to actuate, whatever it is I end up using as display. Now, what can I use for the display? Well, there are some easy choices. There's LEDs. Heck, LEDs. What are you thinking of anything else? Well, there's also EL wire, which is pretty cool. And there's also this flexible light pipe stuff that we sell that I've played with. But honestly, after playing with EL wire and the flexible light pipe for a little while, they're not really very good in a well-lit room. And I expect the garage to be pretty well lit while I'm working on my car. I also haven't given up the idea of using lasers. Lasers. Like maybe for VU meters. So I might do something with lasers still, but I haven't totally hashed that out. Lasers tend to be a little expensive, so I have to be sort of clever with them to maximize the effect. I don't want 800 lasers shooting up. Correction, I do want 800 lasers shooting all over the place, but it's probably not practical for this application. But for the time being, I'm going to treat the display like an entirely separate subsystem, okay, with its own control system and potentially with its own power supply. If I take this out, this leaves me, what I have to worry about right now is the primary control system, which also incorporates the faders that are going to run the volume on this, and also the XB and the X2 internet gateway, so I can run all of this junk on my phone, okay? Now the XB and the XB is going to be a drop-in to whatever I choose here, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. Well, if I assume that my display is going to be its own subsystem with its own microcontroller, I can probably get away with something really simple and cheap here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use one of the Mega Pro boards that we sell. I recently did another project with this board, and it was pretty cool. Has a lot of I/O. It's got tons of everything, and it was really simple to use. So I'm going to go for that. That's going to go here, and it'll probably, we'll see how that works. But even if I don't use all the I/O on the Mega Pro board, right, because it's like the Mega 2650, 2560, I get the number screwed up. It's got a ton of pins, ton of everything on it. And even if I don't use it for a display, I've still got the XB and the X2 gateway, which is really cool. So there's a lot of possibilities that this thing could enable that don't have anything to do with this project. I could use this controller for something entirely different and stupid, just because I can, and it's been known to happen before. Let's talk about the physical layout of this thing for a sec. Now, right now, the amplifier is hanging by one screw, maybe, off of my shelf in my garage with wires hanging off it, right? It's not very pretty. So I need to tidy that up a little bit. I'm not really an enclosure guy, so I expect this system to be, what I kind of figure on doing is like mounting the bits to a larger board, not to scale. So like, you know, amplifier board maybe here, and that's the big old heat sink that goes on it. And then maybe the faders like that. And then the, you know, Mega Pro board over here. Perhaps the XB over here, something like that. And I might use a shield or something like that. And then the display might be, you know, this display control board might be something entirely separate off of here. And then this whole shebang gets screwed to the wall in some fashion. Okay, so with all that junk hashed out, I'm ready to get on with my next steps. So I'm gonna go get a Mega Pro board, and I'm gonna go get my faders, and I'm going to start laying this stuff out on a larger board, and I'll have some amount of communication going on, maybe the automated fader thing going on, and I will be looking to, soon after that, integrate the XB and the X2 into my house network, and et cetera, et cetera. And then once all that's done, then I start looking at the display. And the display is arguably going to be the largest part of this project. So until next time, thanks for watching. Keep the questions and comments coming, and post your comments below. You can send your questions to feedback@sparkfun.com with "according to Pete" in the subject line, and we'll get them in the queue, and sooner or later we'll answer something, maybe, sort of, kind of. Until next time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you after the New Year. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, woohoo!